You don't realize just how privileged you are to be part of something while it's going on. The only way you're ever going to win is to be a family, is really be tight and to trust one another.
The Lakers had a struggle last year. We lost our world championship, but we're going to get it back.
Head coach, Pat Riley.
Everybody loved him. Everybody loved the situation that he had brought to the team and the freedom that he kind of recreated. He opened up the gates again and said, you know, we're going to run. I'm going to trust you guys.
Right side, in deep, bank of 10, it's good.
Riley just wrote that thing to a championship, man.
3, 2, 1. The Lakers are the world champions.
Pat, congratulations.
I'll tell you what, Brandon, the players deserve all the credit because they're the ones that played. They trusted me early in the season when I didn't know what I was doing, and we've come a long way.
That day that Jerry Buss said, you can do this, has led to this day today. I mean, he chose me. He took a $100 million team and he threw it at some kid who never coached. And they kick you through the door and they say, here, go for it. You're the one.
When you think back to Monday, it is still hard to believe that the Celtics beat the Lakers by 34 points. But I think the thing to keep in mind is that it is the second game which dictates the tempo and the mood for the remainder of the series.
This was the major breakthrough moment for that team to really own their greatness, to own it with this tremendous adversity.
The Lakers are winning it. 3 in 6 years. LA comes to Boston and wins the world title.
And all the good and all the bad, all the things you go through as a team, as a coach, and as a family, to have it end in a win like this, you just can't describe it.
Coach, does it make it any sweeter defeating the Celtics here at home where you lost it last year?
Goddamn parquet floor. On our championship rings, we're going to have a parquet floor with a diamond in the middle of it.
Well, you got to have goals. I challenge the players to have what I call career best efforts. That if everybody could go 1% above their career best year, we conceivably, with 12 players in 5 categories, could have an overall improvement of 60%. When I put my fist in the air and I'm running down the sidelines and I'm pointing at Magic Johnson, I'm telling him, get Kareem the ball. Get fist up. That's what it was.
I feel grateful to be alive and living in Los Angeles, and I'm guaranteeing everybody here, next year we're going to win it again.
Wimbledon, Russell was knocked away to Magic. No look to Worthy underneath score. The Lakers have won it again. They'll never forget this moment.
After we had won, when we went up to City Hall, I put a thing around my face because Kareem, the night after we had won in '88, stuffed the towel down my mouth to make sure I wouldn't guarantee a third one. Okay, because I had guaranteed back to back. This wouldn't have happened without the players. I'm honored that people will say that, legendary. No, I was legendary because I was part of legendary teams. So I don't look at myself as iconic. I look at myself as somebody who was part of something really bigger than himself, and I do hope that when I leave the game, I leave it better than what it was.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, Laker Nation. Please welcome at this time the host of Entertainment Tonight and website creator, sports commentator, Mr. Kevin Frazier.
How's everybody doing today? This is an amazing day because we are here to celebrate a man who is on the Mount Rushmore of coaches, who is the godfather of Showtime. 10 NBA championships, 10 NBA finals, 6 NBA championships, because you don't want to cheat you. You got the one as a player, the one as an assistant coach. You are a winner, you are a leader, and that is why we celebrate Pat Riley today. But I also think it's, I was thinking about what do you wear on this day, and I was like, well, you have to wear the uniform. The high-waisted pleated pants. I have 3 pleats, not 2, but it's okay. The blazer. You change the game. And really, I think your most important fashion moment may have come in 1993. It wasn't being on the cover of GQ. You were there twice. It wasn't the beautiful suits. It was a game against the Suns. Maybe you remember this. There was a little scrap, and Pat ripped his pants. And what people realized after he ripped his pants is that he wore white boxers. You could not keep them in a store. Everybody was buying white boxers. But what we have assembled up here is, as you see, a group of greatness. And today we honor a man who also is 5th on the all-time wins list. He is the gold standard. And when we speak of gold standards, we also have to talk about the gold standard of ownership and as an executive, and that's the one and only Jeanie Buss, who has helped lead the Lakers. For so many years. And Jeanie, as I bring you up here, I want to remind you, first time I ever interviewed you was when they were talking about building this building. And now today, we add Pat Riley to the immortals who are in this square. So well done. Jeanie Buss.
Thank you all for being here today. This is a very special day for all of us. And first of all, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the Arison family and the Miami Heat organization for allowing us to honor their leader and their captain. There's no tampering going on right now. Let's see. Okay, in 2010, my father, Jerry Buss, was inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame. That night, my dad included in his speech, and I quote, "Pat Riley was the man who brought us 4 championships to Los Angeles. What a career, what glory, what fun to have you as my guardian angel." Dr. Buss was right, of course. Pat really was a guardian angel for this franchise, its employees, and most important, its fans across the world. As many of you know, Pat won a title here as a player, then joined the broadcasting booth alongside our beloved Chick Hearn, before he was summoned back to the bench as an assistant coach in the late 1970s. Finally, in 1981, my father made Pat the team's head coach, and Pat soon became the epitome of an era, the stylish leader of the all-conquering Showtime Lakers. Under his leadership, we won 7 Western Conference titles in 8 years and forever changed the history of our league. And the league, and Pat did it all with flair and swagger, and with Chris by his side. For those of us who got to know them, Pat and Chris were mentors and guides. They had wisdom and sophistication, grit and grace, and they taught us about what it meant to be winners and what it meant to be role models. Chris has been integral to Pat's success both on the court and off it, and their devotion to each other is as beautiful as any play he's ever drawn up or any inspirational speech he ever gave. 40 years ago, Pat was asked by Sports Illustrated what words he associated with coaching. His response was simple: dignity, respect, pride. Those are the values he lives by and the ones he embedded here. And even though Pat hasn't worked here for more than 3 decades, those remain Laker principles in a large part because of him. That's why it was so important to us to recognize Pat with this statue right here in the heart of downtown LA. Now generations of Angelenos will be able to gather here to learn of his achievements and to understand his central role in the history of our team and our city. On behalf of the entire Lakers organization, congratulations, Pat. I couldn't be happier to be here to celebrate with you today. Thank you.
Once a Laker, always a Laker. You realize that, right? You know that, right? Look, he doesn't want to shake his head, but once a Laker, always a Laker. Also, you know, it's Black History Month, and it seems like every year when they talk about moments in sports, they always bring up Texas Western and your Kentucky team, that great game, the first time there were 5 African Americans on a court at the same time winning a national championship. And it went from, you know, Kentucky to Adolph Rupp's Kentucky, and now it's Pat Riley's Kentucky every time. But what people forget is that you were the one who walked in there and shook everyone's hand after that game. You were the one who, when they have reunions, they come and they invite you. And it means that much. So every time we mention you during Black History Month, don't worry. We got you because we thank you for that moment. Now, earlier this year in the fall, Shaquille O'Neal told a great story about being a member of the, when he was with the Heat. And he said, you guys were going back and forth, and, you know, you said, I'm gonna throw him out of practice. And Shaq said, well, why don't you? You come get me. You come throw me out of practice, in true Shaq fashion. And then Shaq laughed and he said, and then the next day I was in Phoenix. Hey, it happens. But Shaquille couldn't be here. He is, of course, touring the world. DJ Diesel is always on the move. But he did send this beautiful video. So let's listen to it.
What up, Laker Nation? Now this right here, this is different. Tonight isn't about a banner. It's not about a ring. It's not about one season. Tonight is about forever. When the Los Angeles Lakers decide to put you in bronze, that means you didn't just win games. You changed the franchise. And that's why we're here. Coach Pat, congratulations. When people walk into this building years from now, they're going to see greatness standing right there. They're going to see championships, discipline, confidence, and culture. And yes, they're going to see that Armani look. Before tunnel walks were fashion shows, before pregame fits were trending, there was Pat Riley. Slick back hair, perfect suit, calm face, no wasted movement. Coach didn't just show up, he arrived. And that presence, that standard, that changed the entire NBA. Now every player walking into an arena looks sharp. That started right here. But let's be clear, the suit wasn't the story. The winning was. 5 championships as a head coach, 4 right here with the Lakers, 9 finals appearances, over 1,200 wins, one of the highest winning percentages this league has ever seen. That's not style, that's legacy. And what I love most about Coach, he was bold. I didn't get to play for him here in LA, but I got to experience him up close. One day in practice, I'm upset and I'm chasing him across the gym. I'm trying to kill him. Most coaches would have stepped aside, not Pat. He stopped, he turned around, he stood his ground. And I remember thinking, oh, this man is different. You don't build dynasties if you're afraid of personalities. And Pat was never afraid. Then there was the finals. When our Miami team went to the finals in 2006, we were up 3-2 and going to Dallas for the last 2 games, or so I thought. So Pat told the team, do not bring 2 suits to Dallas. We are winning in 6 games. That's confidence. But when we got to the airport, oh yeah, he checked the bags. He actually checked them. That's not just belief, that's conviction. And I heard this story, I was there. They say he once dunked his head in a bucket of water and held his breath for more than 4 minutes. Finally, he came up, gasping for air, and said, we cannot win unless we treat it like this is our last breath. I was there. I seen it up and personal. That's how he coached. Everything urgent, everything intense, everything championship level. And that mentality, that's why this statue belongs here. Because look who it's standing beside. Champions, legends, Magic, Kareem, Kobe. The DNA just didn't appear. It was built. It was demanded. Coach, you just didn't win titles. You shaped what it meant to be a Laker. And now you stand here in bronze forever. Congratulations, Coach. Love you.
Okay, so our next speaker, you know, they've been looking for weapons of mass destruction all over this planet. They've never found one. I've only seen one weapon of mass destruction, and that's the skyhook. That's the one thing you couldn't stop. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, his statue is here, but he also has had a long history with Pat Riley, and it goes all the way back to your days at Power Memorial. Kareem, I'll let you take it from there.
You can hear me, right? Pat and I first bumped heads in high school when I was in the 9th grade. I was 14 years old, and we played in a Christmas tournament upstate New York. And, we were the team from the city, and they had maybe some apprehension. But Pat came out there, and I think he got 14 on that one. They whipped us because I found out in the first quarter. And Pat's dad was an umpire, but all his friends refereed basketball. And I think they made a determination that I wasn't going to see the second half. And I didn't. And I kept that resentment with me for some time. I was really glad when Texas Western beat them. I have to say that, man. I was really happy. Now you know how it feels, Pat. But it goes on and on and on between me and Pat. And it has really come across to me that we are fellow travelers. We've been through the same stuff at the same time, competing and trying to be our best. I was fortunate enough to play on the World Championship team in 1971. Pat's Lakers beat us in 1972. And I'll never forget Pat running off the court congratulating Jerry West. And here I am on the downside with Pat. But the year before that, the Lakers had beat the Bucks, my Bucks, had beat the Lakers. So that kind of tempered it a little bit, But then, finally, I got traded to the Lakers. You don't know what a happy moment was. That was in my apartment. I don't know. It's probably still fixing the damage that I did. But my good friend Jerry West got me to the Lakers. And now Pat and I are teammates. And it keeps on. It's like being fellow travelers and developing the friendship and familiarity with each other that goes along with that. That's something that you're not even aware of. I wasn't aware of it until they gave Pat the job to coach. And I had to rely on Pat to prepare. He was in a position to observe and correct me. And I thought I'd never be corrected by Pat Riley. But there I am. And thanks for the good advice, Riles. I appreciate it. And I think that the way that you and the Lakers and me and let's say Irvin and all the other people that have been so crucial to Lakers' success, it's more than that. It's family. And something I'm really proud and happy to be a part of. And Pat, like I told you this morning, congratulations. You more than earned it.
I can't have your phone. I'll make all kinds of calls tonight. This next speaker, he's a member of the Heat family, but he really does feel like he's a part of California, like of LA. You married the girl who's the Compton Clover, right? Yeah. Come on. But when you look at Dwayne Wade and what he did on the basketball court was amazing, but also measure this man by what he's done after his career. The father, the businessman, the host. Stop taking all the hosting jobs, bro, okay? Easy. He has been a real part and steward of this community since he has left basketball. So yes, you are a Hall of Famer, but you're also a Hall of Fame person. Dwayne Wade, we appreciate you and welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Before I get started, I just want to say for everybody here that's from Miami, isn't it cool that we got a day pass to come and hang out with everybody in LA? So thank you to the Bus family. Thank you to the Ramis family for making sure that my wife and I were a part of today. So good afternoon, everyone. It is truly an honor to stand here and be here alongside so many legends of the game, to be in the same spaces as the video Shaq sent, Kareem and Magic, men who have defined excellence. This moment is special. And so today, we're here to honor someone who defines excellence in his own way, Rouse. Before I talk about Pat the legend, I want to take a moment to recognize Chris the legend. Chris Riley has been there through every chapter. The chapter's sacrifice, the chapter's long nights, pressures, doubts, the belief, the strength to stand beside his greatness without needing the spotlight, the chapter nurturing, enduring, overcoming, community building, and the chapter love. So everybody, please, let's give a hand clap to Chris Riley. Also want to acknowledge the family, James, Elizabeth, and the whole Riley family, including the next generation that gets to grow up with this legacy. Hi, Olivia. For the ones who know me, you know I like to speak through love letters, and so today, this is my love letter to Pat Riley. I grew up in Chicago, and in my community, Pat was already a name before I even knew what coaching really was. My grandmas, my aunties, my uncles, and cousins and friends, everybody, we loved Pat Riley. It was his slick back hair, it was the swagger, it was the confidence, it was the flair, and of course, it was the Armani suits. Pat made the sideline look good, and he made coaching look cool. You know, he was Showtime in LA. Then he went to New York, and a kid from Chicago, that made him the enemy. But what I learned was this, Pat could build different identities in different cities. Showtime to grit, it's the same standard, it's the same leadership, just a little different style. Then I watched him go to Miami, and he fit. Zoe, Tim Hardaway, the edge, expectations, and he was the perfect man for that job. So when that man believed in me, when that man drafted me, when he gave me the opportunity to show the world who I was and who I could become, it simply changed my life. Pat gave me foundation, he gave me discipline, he gave me standards, he gave me love and care, even when it was tough. So today, Pat, thank you. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for demanding greatness. Thank you for the memories and the moments. Your impact didn't stop with one team, with one city, or one era. You changed the game by building culture, by setting standards, and by showing what leadership looks like. Your legacy is excellence, your legacy is culture, and your legacy is forever. And for this statue to live here in Los Angeles with the Lakers, alongside the greats who helped define this franchise, this is where you belong. You earned this. Love you.
You know, Dwayne's a fashion guy. Did y'all ever have a conversation? Did you ever go down and talk to him and say, hey, okay, all right. Maybe he gave you some advice, or maybe you gave him some. So, if you look throughout movie history, there are lots of great characters. But let's be honest, one of the greatest is Gordon Gekko. If you love Wall Street, you love Gordon Gekko, you think greed is good. And in many ways, that's the Laker way. Greed is good. Win championships, don't lose. Michael Douglas is a great actor, but who knew that Gordon Gekko had a little tip from Pat Riley? ladies and gentlemen, one of Pat's good friends, but more importantly, Gordon Gekko, the one and only Michael Douglas. Please tell the story. Please tell the story.
Thank you. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what the hell I'm doing up here on this stage. Good afternoon, all. But Pat and Chris had a life off the court, too, and I'm proud to call them a dear friend for more than 40 years. And yes, I am going to have to confess that Gordon Gekko's hairdo came from Pat Riley. And and I was with Pat, went to Miami. We were driving one of his Mercuries with a convertible with a top down. I was sitting in the back seat, and I was looking at Pat driving and said, his hair is not moving. It's a convertible, nothing. And I said, so that's the way that I want to go. So first of all, congratulations. I mean, Pat, this is something else. This is a real statue. So that's, you didn't just coach basketball. You transformed it. And I want to be very clear about something up front. I didn't personally know Pat in his playing days. I may have missed some of his statistics in those times, but I knew him as a color commentator on Lakers radio, cast alongside the game alongside Chick Hearn from 1977 to 1979. And sitting next to Chick wasn't an easy job for beginners. He didn't suffer fools, dead air, or bad basketball strategy. And Pat didn't just keep up. He elevated the broadcast. He'd break out his own pacing, timing, discipline, why a play worked, why it didn't, and what the team needed to make it better. And even then, before the Armani suits and before the championships, you could hear it. The calm, the clarity, the leadership. This was someone who didn't just love the game, he mastered it. So when he moved from the booth back into the game as assistant coach in 1979, it didn't feel like a leap. It felt inevitable. Then came in November of 1981, the Lakers started to season 7-4. But something, wasn't clicking right, and the owner, Dr. Jerry Buss, he made a decision that shocked everyone. He handed the team to Pat Riley. Now, you got to think about this for a second. Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a championship roster, and Pat had never been a head coach at any level, nor in high school, not in college, anywhere. But Jerry Buss say that he heard on the radio broadcasting years earlier, someone who understood the game, someone who could lead, someone who could inspire. And Pat took over at midseason, and 6 months later, the Lakers were NBA champions, his first season as a head coach, and he wins it all in 1982. Now here's where the story gets interesting. It's 1985, and while Pat was busy leading the Lakers to another championship over the Celtics, I'm in the country of Morocco shooting a movie, The Jewel of the Nile. Now, you have to remember this. This was a different time. No cell phones, no streaming, no instant highlights. If you missed a game, you missed the game. But I had a lifeline. Beta tapes. Now, for anyone here 40, under 40, beta tapes were a large plastic brick. They held about 2 hours of grainy television, no rewind review, no skip ahead. You watched what was there in order and hoped you recorded it. The person who recorded it didn't cut it off at the end. And I I had some friends record the finals to me in the States, and then ship them over to me to see them to Morocco. And I was fanatical about not wanting to know how the final game ended. I wouldn't let anyone talk about the game. If they did, I literally plugged my ears and walk away mid-sentence. So the tapes arrived in Morocco, and were immediately confiscated by customs. Because they assumed, quite reasonably, that anything a man wanted that badly had to be pornography. So there I am, thousands of miles away, weeks after the final game was over, and I'm waiting for Moroccan officials to decide whether Magic Johnson is obscene, you know? Eventually everything worked out, and I got the tapes, watched them, lost my mind, and sent Pat a note congratulating him on the championship and building one to the end. And if you're ever in Europe, I said to him, come visit me. I'm shooting a movie in the south of France. Well, Pat, and I think I have to thank Chris for this, actually took me up on it. And they came to the set, and that's when we realized something is explained what we had in common. Pat is from Schenectady, New York, the same town where my father's family's from, which is a Russian Jew, Irish Catholic, tough winters, dedicated people. Suddenly everything made sense. And from that moment on, Pat went on being the voice I listened to on the radio, as a leader I admire, and to a valued friend, and his wife, Chris, for more than 40 years. Pat, what you gave to the Lakers wasn't just championships, it was culture, it was leadership, and you made excellence look intentional. 4 NBA titles, 3 Coach of the Year awards. You didn't just coach a basketball team, you built a dynasty. I couldn't think of a man more deserving person to stand before and outside the home of these Lakers. Well deserved, my friend. Well deserved.
Thank you so much, Michael. Great stuff. And see, Gordon Gekko, right? You were riding in a car and his hair didn't move, right? Right, and it didn't move. And so you said that, I'm locking that in for my character. I love it. You know, this is a city of winners. There's a bunch of winners here, and the winningest winner of all the winners is sitting on this stage because he just doesn't win in basketball. He's winning in baseball. He's winning in soccer. You're going to win in football, too. And you know, we're winning on Crenshaw because we can now get a latte thanks to you. Earvin Magic Johnson, along with Kareem and Pat, really fueled Showtime and changed this city. And that is why he is the perfect person to be here today. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Earvin Magic Johnson.
First, God is so good, and what a blessing it is to be here. I know that 3 people who are up in heaven are very excited. First, Dr. Jerry Buss. We should give it up for him because none of us would be here without him. Jerry West. We should give it up for him too. Statue right behind. And of course, Chick Hearns. Let's give it up for Chick as well. I want to thank my sister in crime, Jeanie Buss, because none of this is possible without her saying, let's do this. So please give it up for Jeanie. I want to also thank Mickey. When I called him, Mickey, you were fantastic. Your family is first class. And you agreed to let this all happen, and that doesn't go unnoticed. That's why you and Jeanie are the two best owners in basketball. So give, please, Mickey Harrison a round of applause. Mentally tough, physically tough, high basketball IQ. You have to have some grit and toughness, discipline. You have to be about winning. You have to love the game, passionate about the game, or you couldn't play for Pat Riley. He expected you to show up for practice ready to go, because he said, hey, if we practice well, we'll play great. No peripheral outside noise. Keep everything in-house. Every time we went to war, to battle, we were prepared. Pat Riley was the best X&O guy in the business. And the one thing he never got credit for, he was the greatest in-game adjustment coach we've ever seen. See, it's one thing to have a strategy, and then that team does something that you now have to make an adjustment. This man on the run, on the fly, could always make adjustments and put us in a position to win. He was demanding. Oh man, he got on your nerves. Oh boy, he got on you. But it was all for the good, because it always turned out right. It was always about excellence, like both Dwayne and Kareem talked about, as well as Michael. Also, too, he was a perfectionist. You had to do it right over and over and over and over again. Thank you for pushing me to another level. One of the best days was when he said, Buck, you're going to have to score more. And that means I got to shoot more then. He said, that's what I'm asking you to do. I said, did you ask Kareem? Remember that? And he said, yes. I said, okay then, because nothing could happen on our team without permission from Kareem. And but it pushed me to a whole nother level. And before Plus and Midases, Pat was already doing that. It's fashionable now in the game today, but Pat was way ahead of his time in coaching. I want to have a couple of the guys stand up, because he didn't do this by himself. Hall of Famer Jamal Wilkes helped him to achieve this statue. Hall of Famer Bob McAdoo helped him achieve this statue. Hall of Famer James Worthy helped him achieve this statue. A.C. Green helped him achieve this statue. Kurt Rambis helped him achieve this statue. Norm I. Nixon helped them achieve this statue. Byron Sweet Jump and Shoot Byron Scott helped them achieve this statue. And Alonzo Mourning is in the back, Hall of Famer. And then there's two Hall of Famers up here that don't have to stand up, but we know they helped him as well. And then he got some great assistant coaches out there, but I'll let him handle that. Pat, thank you for making this city great. And when they say the city of champions, we can look at you as one of the architects of that slogan. You are amazing. You've done more for us than we can ever thank you for. And even today, you love us, all of us. You send us notes, you call us, you want to check on us. That's who you are. You take care of a lot of players who need your assistance and help. You're there. So we love you. Thank you. This man deserves everything he's getting today and more. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, it's now time to bring the man up. And, you know, thinking today about how do you introduce someone who has done so much, and, you know, Magic just mentioned about what you mean to the community. And I saw your granddaughter here, and years from now, she will come with her friends, her family, and they'll stand by that statue. They'll take pictures. And other people, the people that are standing outside here right now that couldn't get in, they will come and they will take pictures with that statue, because that legacy is forever. And the people here, they love and appreciate what you did, as Magic said, for this city. Ladies and gentlemen, please, the one and only Pat Riley.
Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Everything I heard thus far, everything, all the words, you know, all the acronyms, you know, all of the things that I basically have said in my career, they just took my speech right here. I don't know how I can add other words to what you all talked about. But the Jeanie, I just want to say I thank you so much. I know you guys were conspiring in some way, shape, or form to possibly do this, and I didn't know anything about it. And then you signed off on it and said we're gonna give Pat a statue and honor him with that. And Jeanie, thank you so much for doing that. And to Cap, yes, he and I go back a long way to high school, all the way, you know, through the pros. You know, one of the most durable athletes in the history of the game. Played 22 years. He had 2 injuries, a sprained ankle that we overcome big time in 1980, and he broke his hand. I don't want to tell you how he broke his hand, but he broke his hand. I think you all know the backstory to that. And that was about it, Cap. Cap would come in every day. He would put on his socks. He'd put on his shorts, put on his jersey, and he would sit and he would read. And everybody knew, leave him alone. He was getting ready. I remember my first day of having to give a speech to the team for the first time. And the first person I talked to was Kareem. I called him into the training room and I said, Cap, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, this is my first gig here, and I'm saying, Cap, I need you. I'm going to need you in your leadership. And he looked at me and he said, Pat, he said, you don't have to worry about me. He said, I'm going to come every night. I'm going to give it to you every single night. I just want to make sure you get all those other knuckleheads in shape. That's all I want you to do. And so we went ahead and did that. They weren't knuckleheads, but everybody played their role. And Cap, I appreciate and love you so much. To Dwayne Wade, not of the Lakers, but I put the DNA of the Lakers in him. You know, it just sort of comes with the program. And he came in as a rookie. He was raw. He was great. He was gifted. He was talented. He was cocky. He was sure of himself. And I never saw a young man work harder than Dwayne Wade. to become one of the greatest players ever, definitely the greatest player in the history of the Miami Heat. During the finals in 2006, I started to send him text, BIW. And he sent a text back, question mark, BIW, question mark. And I said, best in the world. And at that time, he was the best player in the world. He averaged almost 40 a game during that series against Dallas. And like we used to do when we needed a bucket for the Lakers and we went to Kareem or Big James or B or Silk, whenever we needed a bucket, I might look calm, cool, and collected here with this statue, okay? But there was a lot of desperation in me when I was walking up and down that sidelines. I just threw a fist in the air, and that's all we had to do, and Buck would nod, and we went after it. So, Dwayne, thank you, Cap. And Michael, he missed part of the story. When his dad used to send me telegrams, from that standpoint, and he always congratulated us when we did something. So I didn't know Kirk that well, but we had a sort of a telegram back then, Western Union telegrams. And I developed a real friendship with Michael in 1982 in On the Rocks. We were celebrating our championship, and I see Lou Adler out there, and it's nice to see Lou. I miss Jack, but it's their club. We used to celebrate there every night, and I met Michael there and introduced myself to him. We've been fast friends for a long time. When he did invite me and Chris to come to Monaco and then also to Nice when he was shooting that movie, he had a rap party up in Vance, and Kathleen Turner happened to be the actress in that movie. And he was playing along with Danny DeVito in that movie. And so during the rap party, I went over and I sat down in front of Danny DeVito and Mike just to chat and have some fun, tell some stories. And it was one of those kind of lawn chairs where you had two big arms on each side. And Kathleen Turner came over and sat right on that lawn chair, and put half her butt on the lawn chair and put her arm around me and introduced herself to me. And Michael and Danny are looking at each other like, oh, this is going to go well. The next thing I know is I see Christine Carolyn Riley walk from across the grass quickly, put her ass on the other side, and put her arm around me. Okay, and I think that took care of that, sweetheart. There was no threat. There's no threat there from that standpoint. And Irvin Magic Johnson, I love him to death for a lot of reasons, not because he was just a great player. He was one of the very best of the best. I see him out here, number 32, dribbling the ball, and he's pointing to somebody. And that was the communication he always had with Silk, with Clever. They made sure they had their eyes on Magic when he had the ball in his hands, because if you didn't, he'd hit you in the back of the head with the pass. Both Silk and James were the best catchers. They had fly paper for hands and layup after layup, and that was Buck orchestrating. When we did get a little bit desperate, we always knew who we had to throw the ball to. But Buck was just an incredible, and that's a nickname that Norm Nixon gave him. I never knew. I thought it was because of big bucks when Jerry Buss gave him $25 million, back in the day for 25 years, and we're going like, I know Peter Goober, he gives people $700 million now for however long with the Dodgers, but the game has changed, and so he got the name of Buck, and I said, it must be about money. No, he was a buck. When we put him down in the post, he would be backing guys in 6'9", 220, 230, and he could have been anything he wanted to be. He could have been a post player, a jump shooter, he could have been, but what he was is he was a winner, he was a leader, he was the greatest floor general that I had ever seen in the game, and he orchestrated everything. And when he needed to score, he would score on his own. And yes, when things began to change, and Cap got up there a little bit in mid-30s as he was carrying us. The load had to go to Clever. The load had to go to B. The load had to go to somebody else, and that's when I said, Irvin, we're going to need you to score. Within a summer, he was doing the baby skyhook, and we know in Game 5 and in Boston, when that baby skyhook went up, it was big, from that standpoint. But beyond that, Irvin is a great man. He's a great human being. The story he did tell last night, Tara and Peter Guber's great party that they gave for us about Cookie was right. You got to be there for your man with your popcorn and your Coke before the game starts, before we ran out. So I just want to thank all of you, very distinguished guests, for introducing me. The time has flown by. It really has. And, over the years, I regularly go back and I can recall each championship and the one moment, the one play, the one shot, the one anything. I just remember that. And usually when I listen to the music, of that time, Michael McDonald is here today. He married Chris and I again. He renewed our vows in Hawaii. And I asked Michael, I said, can you sing a song by the Intruders called When You Get Married? And Michael said, can I sing a song by the Intruders when you get married? And Michael was there. He also sang a great song for my wife, for my daughter at her wedding, The Way You Look Tonight. And we've had them at galas. And, but back in the day, that was part of the music. Michael McDonald, James Ingram. Yamo Be There was a defensive song that we used to play because we always Yamo Be There. I'm a Yamo Be There, blocking shots and making steals. So, Michael, it's great to see you here. Coaching, to me, and now I'm going to get to what they all talked about, really. Thank other people a little bit later. But coaching is, to me, an interactive relationship whereby you get put into place to get a result. I got put in a place without the experience. I was scared to death, but I was ready. Didn't think I was ready, but I knew I was ready. I just felt it. And so coaching being an interactive relationship whereby you get put into place, you get hired, you grow into that place, and you need to get a result. And that result obviously is going to have to be winning, especially here in Los Angeles. The only way you can get that result is that you got to have the trust of the players, and they got to trust you, period. And how do you get that trust? You get it, one, through sincerity. They got to know that I didn't want to get anything out of the game more than they did. I wanted to get out of the game what they got, and I wanted to make sure what they got out of the game is what they desired. And if I could do that as a coach, then they will be successful as individuals, and then they can probably, as a team, win championships. So I was sincere about all of them wanting to do well and to do better and to be great. And when you're young, we were talking about it last night, Clever and I, we were young, we were grinding, we were like selfish, we were all of these things, but what they were very, very gifted, talented players. They would have never let me coach them, unless they thought I was competent, unless they knew what I could do. And they wouldn't trust you unless you were competent. And they felt that I was competent enough to be able to teach them, to improve them. And I worked very hard on trying to be a competent head coach. And they trust you because they want to get better themselves. And the last thing is reliability. You got to be there, for them when they need you. It's a tough sport, tough business. A lot of things change quickly. You can't, you fall in love with players. I've never fallen out of love with players, but the business can be rough and people can come and go. But when you're coaching, the most important thing are those people that put you there. I want to thank you so much to the Buss family, but most importantly at that time was Dr. Jerry Buss, who said, "It's your job, Pat. It's yours. Go take it. Go do something with it." Thank you to Jerry West. His lovely wife Karen is here. Son Ryan. He's right behind me. The logo is right there. Thank you to him for saying, Pat, you can do this, and supporting my career. Thank you so much to Chick Hearn, who's over here. He helped me get back into the game at least 3 times. I want to thank Billy Burtka. He's somewhere around here. My main guy, right over here. Where are you, Bill? Wave your hand. Billy! Billy B. I want to thank Billy. He was one of the great mentors that I ever had in my life. I needed the balance of his softness, his ingenuity, when I became a little bit too intense. I wanted to thank Fred Schaus. He was the general manager of the Lakers when I got here. He said, do you want a job as a practice player? I said, well, what is a practice? He said, I don't want to hear what does a practice player do. Do you want a job as a practice player? And I said, well, will I get any minutes? I don't want to hear if you're going to get any minutes. He said, for the last time, do you want a job as a practice player? Thinking about Chris, just being married, not having any money, $5,000 in debt, but I had a yellow Corvette. I said, yes, I'll be a practice player. And he says, your job, and this was my role, your job is to keep Jerry West, Jimmy McMillan, Gail Goodrich, and Elgin Baylor in shape every day. These guys were playing 40 minutes a night, okay? And they were coming to practice the next day a little bit tired. And then they saw me frothing at the mouth. I had to work against them to get paid. So they didn't much like me in the beginning. And then some days they came in and said, you know what, I'm a little tired today, but I'm going to kick your ass. And that's what they did. So having those guys made me better, but I was a practice player. And my whole bent on conditioning came from Bill Sharman. The next year, Bill Sharman said to me in the summer, he said, Pat, I think you can make the team. Here's what you have to do. He said, you got to win my mile run. You got to win the 120s, the 220s, and the 440s that we run out on the track. And then you got to win every suicide sprint that we have in practice at the end of practice. And so Billy Burtka helped me, got me in shape, told me what it was about, and I ended up, making the team and eventually getting into that rotation one day on the Magnificent Seven that won the championship in 1971-72. So I thank Bill Sharman so much. The time has gone so fast. I feel like everything that I've ever done, I've been blessed. It has come my way. And I want to start and finish with this. There's a famous Pulitzer Prize writer-author. His name is Ernest Becker. He once wrote, a man's greatest fear is his fear of extinction. But what he should fear more than that is to one day become extinct with insignificance. All we really want in life and after is to know that what we did mattered and counted. Not just that we won, not just that we made history, but we left something behind worth remembering. Right here in this Plaza Square of Stars, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal, back there ready to dunk all over me. Chick Hearn and the great Kobe Bryant. It's out here. If you take a look at his inscription, and I believe this, he said, when you enter the game, you want to make sure when you leave it, it's better than when you came in. That is what is legendary. You just don't want to be the best of the best. You want to be considered the only ones who do what you do. There is nothing wrong in being unique. There is nothing wrong in separating yourself from the pack. You do this as a team with talent, togetherness, and toughness. The goal is not just to win. The goal is to become significant, to leave footprints others will follow. But before you can leave those footprints, you have to make sure that you have somebody else to chase. In 1970, after my first 3 years of in the NBA playing for the San Diego Rockets, a time of injury, frustration, and failure, the only significant and positive thing was that I met a woman who changed my life. Her name, Christine Carolyn Rodstrom. She's right here in the first row. 58 years we have been together. She was the one and only. I met the woman I had been dreaming of. She was beautiful, energetic, smart, and positively infatuated. We got married, a big joyous celebration with many family and friends. They all came to visit, they all came to celebrate, and they wished us a journey filled with hope. We headed to my next team in Portland. It was an expansion team, and right after the wedding, as my mom and dad were leaving to go home, my father told me how proud he was of me and told Chris and I good luck in our new future together. You're going to need it. He also said, Pat, there will come a time in some place, some way, you're going to have to kick some ass, and when that time comes, you do it. As the car pulled away, I didn't realize those were going to be the last words I'd ever hear him say. Weeks later, as I was preparing for training camp in Portland, our phone rang in the middle of the night. It was my sister, Mary Kay. She told me our dad had passed away that day. In this game, grief doesn't ask for scheduling purposes or permission. The next day, training camp started, but I went home to bury my father. I missed a week of training camp. I was only 25. And I had lost a great voice in my life. Guys like Bill Burkett, Jerry West, Jerry Buss, all of them, they helped replace that. I headed back physically and mentally exhausted, very diminished. That week, coincidentally, the team was playing the Los Angeles Lakers in a preseason game up in Portland. After that game, I got cut. Just like that, the footprints I was chasing, they were gone. They disappeared. They say in every adversity, there's a seed of equivalent benefit. When opportunity raises its head, you must embrace it. As Chris and I walked out of that arena on a cold, rainy night, arm in arm, sad, lost, bewildered, wondering, what was next? We passed the Lakers bus and a voice called my name. It was Chick Hearn. I love him to death. He's right over here. The great announcer, and also at that time he was the assistant GM. He said he knew what happened and not to lose hope. The Lakers had interest. They would be in touch. My heart leapt out of my chest, and 2 days later I was on a plane to join the Lakers. A dream. My life had changed again, and a new hope arrived. Whatever was next had to be earned. This was on me. I had to get the job done. Getting ready for my first practice, I got there 2 hours early at Loyola Gym. I was very, very, very nervous. I went over, did a lot of shooting drills, sliding drills, as you guys know, running, sprints, sit-ups, push-ups, jumping off of walls, sweating like a dog. In walked Jerry West. He walked over me. He was my hero. I was a young kid when I watched him play against Boston in the 60s. He walked over to me and said, Pat, welcome to the Lakers. We really think you can help us. Bill Burtka, as I mentioned, who became my greatest mentor and top assistant with the Lakers over the years, told me the Lakers is not just any team. I was entering, at that time, yes, it was called culture, with very high expectations, who shared visions of winning and winning big. The Lakers were not about mediocrity. They were about excellence. To excel, you must train yourself to go above and beyond. That was the collective organizational attitude that I got into. I was surrounded by greatness. At first it was Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain, Gail Goodrich, Happy Hairston, Jim McMillan, Keith Erickson, and me, Pat. And they all made me better. But here's what I learned. Talent is common, standards are rare. An ordinary player who gives extraordinary effort is respected and could and will outlast a talented player who doesn't. Talent gets you noticed, discipline keeps you there, Eventually, we won the NBA championship in 1972. Our record was 69-13. We won 33 straight games in a row. The record stands to this day. I was part of what they called the Magnificent Seven. It was across the masthead of the sports page of the LA Times, and I had a picture right there. I was one of the seven. From practice player to rotation player. That was a major footprint. In 1979, a new era began. In May of 1980, Dr. Buss and the family became new owners of the Lakers. Big changes were to come. Earlier, the most important acquisition in Laker history was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar coming to the Lakers via trade. The front office went to work and added a core of great players to complement Cap. Jamal Wilkes, Silk. Norm Stormin Nixon, Michael Cooper, Jim Jones at that time. And in June of '79, with the number 1 pick in the draft, Dr. Buss signed off on drafting the one and only Earvin Magic Johnson. He was the last piece, but not the last one to be added. We were about ready to plant new footprints. It was the beginning of a dominating decade of winning. We won the NBA championship in Dr. Buss's first year, 1980, overcoming great adversity in Game 5 when Cap went down with a sprained ankle, but he came back in the fourth quarter and a lob pass from Magic to Kareem and a dunk when he could barely walk sealed the win. Then we went on to Game 6, and there was nothing but extraordinary performances in Game 6 to clinch our first title in 1980. Magic Johnson, 42 and 15 and 7. Jamal Wilkes, 37 and 10. Jim Jones, a double-double. Norm Nixon had 10 assists pushing the ball. Michael Cooper, 18 points, and guarding Dr. J all the time. Brad Holland from UCLA hit some big jumpers going down the stretch, Buck. And we had a guy by the name of Mark Landsberger who had 10 rebounds. I know you got on him last night, Kurt, but he could board, okay? Mark could board. We ended up winning that championship. Showtime had arrived. Management added a legendary core of new players to join this ride. Kurt Rambis, Mitch Kupchak, Bob McAdoo, James Worthy came as a number 1 pick, Byron Scott, A.C. Green, Michael Thompson. We went on to win 5 titles in that decade. 1980 against Philly, 1982 against Philly, 1985 against the Celtics, 1987 against the Celtics, and then I went out and guaranteed another one. And we won the championship in 1988 against Detroit. And then after that, I went out to try to guarantee another one, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar stuffed a towel in my mouth and said, "Not again, coach, we're not going to let you go there." You know? We were all in, and that's what I learned. When it comes to commitment, there are only 2 options. You're either in or out. You're either with us or against us. There's no other way. There's no life in between. The biggest footprint in Laker history had been planted for the next generation of great players and teams to follow. Same culture, yes. Same standards, same pressure, same privilege to have been a Laker coach and Laker players. As happens to all of us, one day we look back with incredible pride and gratitude to have been part of something truly special. You move on in this world with what you do, and others take over. That's the rhythm of life. That's the rhythm of the NBA. Anybody who's part of the NBA, they know that is what goes with the business. And it's okay to move on. You begin by chasing footprints, you grow by honoring them, and if you're committed enough, you leave giant steps of your own. So I'll ask you, not you out here, but I'll ask all of the players in the NBA today about their commitment. Yeah, I asked even the players who play for the Lakers today. I ask you, whose footprints are you chasing today? Are they pushing you, stretching you, demanding more than you have? And more importantly, what footprints are you leaving? What footprints are you leaving? Someone's watching. They're watching how you prepare. They're watching how you handle loss. They're watching how you respond to success, how you raise your standards when things fall apart. Significance doesn't come from comfort. It comes from adversity, from discipline, from refusing to be ordinary. It comes from deciding that when your time is done, the game, the organization, the people around you are better off because all of us were there together. Just read the inscription on Kobe's trophy. That is how you avoid extinction with insignificance. You chase excellence, you live by standards, you pounce on opportunity, you endure adversity, and when it comes to time to kick some ass, you do it. And one day, someone will follow the path you left behind and say, those are footprints worth chasing. I want to thank everybody for being here today. A new generation of Laker fans who support with great pride this team, today's team, and Laker Nation for supporting me, Chris, and those teams forever. I will always love you, forever and for always, for all that you have meant to me. I believe all that is good that we get in this world comes from our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. When I was told that the kid from Schenectady, New York, would be honored with a statue here in the Plaza of Stars, the Plaza of Legends, I fell to my knees, humbled and sobbed. Tears of joy and gratitude. That statue, right there, the one they're going to unveil today, that statue right there is loaded up with all of us who took that magical journey. So with that said, as my father's words to me, they ring out loud and clear today. The time has come to kick some ass, to kick some Boston ass. May God bless you all that are here. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it very, very much. Ed Ruche, okay, painted a piece of showtime for me that I have forever. And I'm sorry I didn't say hello and to everybody. Linda Rambis, she's an all-star, the administrator of all things. And Octavia, okay, give her a hand. And Chrissy and all the people that put the parties together. To Linda and Jerry Bruckheimer for having a little gathering the other night that got me drunk. But we had a good time. And to Rob, hey man, good luck to you, okay? You got it. Thank you all. Appreciate you very much. And Vidi.
All right, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. A quick shout out to the folks who created and designed this beautiful statue, Omri Amrani and Sean Bell from Amrani Studios.
Yes, the Omri Armani, okay, Sean Bell in the Omri Armani studio who created this. I spent 4 or 5 visits up in Illinois, and then I went to the foundry in Tucson when they bronzed it. I said, Omri, what do you think? Well, he loves it. It is calm, cool, and collected. It is showtime. I'll let you make the determination about what you think it might be. But I'm so proud of it. Thank you, Omri. And thank you, Cassidy Kell, for putting all these things together, too, from that studio. Thank you. I'm going to be right here.
We're going to cue a quick video. Play the video first.
The Lakers are the champions. They have won a game that no one would have given them a chance to win, and they have done it. Nice going, Pat Riley.
The players deserve all the credit. They trusted me early in the season when I didn't know what I was doing, and we've come a long way.
This has removed the most odious sentence in the English language. It can never again be said that the Lakers have never beaten the Celtics.
I feel grateful to be part of the team. I feel grateful to be alive and living in Los Angeles. And I'm guaranteeing everybody here, next year we're going to win it again. I mean, I could never be prouder of a group of guys that worked this hard. And we had a challenge. We talked a lot about it. They worked and they won it. And you got to give them credit for that.
I want to thank everybody for coming out today. Doesn't it look fantastic? Thank you to the Laker family, the Heat family, all the friends and family from Pat's past, and this is a moment. Hopefully all the fans can pour in here and get their picture with it, but wow, that's beautiful. Pat, congratulations. You earned it.
Thank you once again, Laker Nation, for showing up to honor the only man that has won championship rings as a player, assistant coach, a coach, and an executive. The great Pat Riley.